quick video today discussing the most pressured players per position in the NFL for this 2026 season. And understanding we're just coming off of the draft, we're just getting rookies in the building. There will still be some change, but we're really through the majority of the wave of free agency. So teams are starting to take shape. We do know some of the narratives out there, some of the upcoming deals players are playing on this year, some of the positional battles. So having said that, jumping in with my familiar Atlanta Falcons at quarterback, got to go with Michael Penix Jr. Why? Year 3 of 4 on his rookie deal, has battled the injury, 5 major season-ending injuries across college and the early part of his NFL career, primarily consisting of 3 ACL tears between his 2 knees, 2 shoulder injuries. And look, he is as tough as they come. He has come back better each time. But it has to be noted, I mean, he has got an almost historical injury chart on file to come back with, to then see Tua Tagovailoa come in on a 1-year vet minimum deal. All the experience Tua has as a former top 5 pick, has a ton of starting experience in the league. You see the Falcons take a shot on undrafted free agent Jack Strand out of Minnesota Moorhead, who I was very high on in the draft process. I had a draftable grade on Strand. You know, being 6'5", 240 pounds, more of that prototype size, clean bill of health. And while that is a major projection, you really just look at the Tua aspect of it and the build out of this team as a whole. There's talent. It is not a barren cupboard to have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, a strong offensive line led by Jake Matthews and Chris Lindstrom, flipping to the defensive side of the ball, second in the NFL last year in sacks for second-year defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. Some young talent, the likes of James Pierce Jr. and whatever comes of that this year. Jalen Walker, Brandon Dorless, Divine Diablo at that linebacker spot really was the center point of that defense when he was healthy last year. Veterans like A.J. Terrell, the addition of his little brother Avian Terrell, the list goes on. There is talent on this team in a very competitive, now surging NFC South, particularly coming off of a strong draft season. Penix has to go show enough for this team to go take a run at the playoffs and ultimately, hopefully, Captain Obvious here, get into the playoffs, make some noise, try and win that NFC South. If not, if he comes back, gets injured again, and is out for the year, it's going to be hard for this team to invest long-term in him and projecting kind of going into a year 4 of this, particularly were they to look up, be in a good draft spot, to take a shot on a quarterback in what is projected, keyword, what is projected to be a strong quarterback class with what we know now here in May. I think Penix is one that's got to come out. Everything looks great. He's ahead of schedule in terms of the injury, taking snaps under center, throwing well, moving well at his wedding. That's really digging deep there. The team is bought into Penix. The players are bought into Penix. It's just a matter of he's got to go show that health. He's got to go take some next steps on the field from what we've seen. 14 games, 12 starts, nearly a 60% completion percentage, nearly 2,800 yards passing, a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Those numbers got to take a boost, particularly with some additional talent coming in. Got to see more consistency just in his touch. Just turned 26 years old in the last week or so, so that even more adds to this year 3 of 4 on a rookie deal. Some of this injury history with the age, so you want to commit years to it. Penix has got to come out hot and take a step, and if he does, he'll be fine. But I think of the people mentioned, all of those circumstances, he's the choice at quarterback. At running back, going to cheat a little bit, mention 2 names here. Though I lean Cardinals running back Jeremiah Love, though he is a rookie, would mention Ashton Jeanty out of the Las Vegas Raiders. Jeanty, 3.7 yards per carry last season, and that was with good volume. But improved quarterback play with the addition of number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendoza, the addition of mega veteran Kirk Cousins coming in, obviously new head coach Clint Kubiak, and all of the play calling acumen that he has to create opportunities offensively. And then look at the Tyler Linderbaum edition. This is the highest paid center in NFL history, and the highest paid center in this current market by a chunk. I mean, 3 years, $81 million to really put a cog into that offensive line that needed the help, properly align themselves with some other talent they have, like a Jackson Powers Johnson, DJ Glaze they like. Would like to just see with Jeanty, can he take that yard per carry up, Can he be that supplemental player for a young quarterback with a new offensive play caller and take a next step for a guy as far as talent? Is up there with those top guys in the league, the Bijan Robinsons, the Jahmyr Gibbs, what the Cardinals are hoping they're getting in a Jeremiah Love, Josh Jacobs, and so on and so forth. But really think the answer is Love. Simply, 4-year, $53.02 million rookie contract, fully guaranteed. He's the highest paid running back in guaranteed money in NFL history. And frankly, when you look at the current market, they'll get your attention because it's not even close. $53 million on Love. Second place, Saquon Barkley, $36 million. Ginty, who we just mentioned, adding to the Ginty case, $35.9, third in the league. Devon Achane just got a new deal at $32 million guaranteed. Breece Hall just got a new deal at $29 million guaranteed. So you're even seeing the current market, the most recent additions in the market as far as this top end. I mean, for him to have $17 million more than Saquon fucking Barkley, that is a major it's not even close for a team that's got multiple needs. Could have gone other directions. Could have looked at a right tackle opposite of Paris Johnson. Could have looked for some defense, particularly in the front seven, but just got drunk in love. Sorry. Drunk in love with the ability to have somebody who can be a top 5 at their position in the league. He's got to come out and show it very quickly. To have no more proven quarterback talent, proven quarterback production in the building. He's going to have his battle ahead of him here. He's got to come out of the gate strong. Think he can do it. At receiver, this feels like a little bit more of a stretch than some of those. But George Pickens with the Cowboys, just because of the fact not having gotten that long-term extension this past season after 93 receptions, 1,429 yards, 9 touchdowns, led the Cowboys in every category. And the Joneses have told you point blank, quote for quote, we're already paying CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year. We weren't quite ready to commit that kind of resources to a receiver 2, though he's performing like the receiver 1, to put him on a $27.3 million franchise tag, buying themselves a year to see if he can stack year after year. He goes and stacks another year the caliber of last year. They got to pay him, and if they say they ain't got to pay him, somebody's going to pay him. So for him, just looking at the long-term wealth that he can sign on for this year, trying to stack it for the caliber of play he has, like I said, again, led the Cowboys, led Lamb in those categories, was as good as any receiver in the league. A lot of it, I think, also as far as, yes, the resources note is valid. Give the Cowboys that. Some of that immaturity we saw with the Steelers regime, whether they want to say it or not, also goes into that, wanting to get another year, seeing if he takes a step with that. Pickens is a good one. Really would like to see him have that kind of production and ultimately get that deal. And then at tight end, this one might be a little bit of a stretch, but there's logic to it. Rams tight end Terrence Ferguson. Sean McVay has been chasing that lost Brock Bowers bet since it happened. Tried to trade up ahead of the Raiders at 13th overall to take Bowers in that draft to be a weapon for him and Matthew Stafford. Raiders opted not to go for it. They wanted to take Bowers. Great decision by them. But since then, he drafts Ferguson, respectfully a reach at 46th overall. Again, kind of like chasing losses in terms of somebody that does sports gambling. Saw that there. They come into this draft. Go and take Max Clare a little high, in my opinion, out of Ohio State. A similar profile. That didn't exactly exude confidence in what you have in Ferguson. 25 targets, 11 catches, 231 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. There just hasn't been much from the production to the messages sent by the team in terms of their corresponding moves, that they feel great about it. This is somebody that needs to go do something this year to match that draft capital, or he is going to be looking up at just being a backup that was a reach that didn't land. Colby Parkinson being in-house as well, currently projected to be the tight end 1 in that starting spot. Really, right now, as it stands, he's battling Claire to be the tight end 2 in that heavy 12 personnel, 13 personnel packages. Going to have to see it from Ferguson. On the offensive line, grouping the offensive and defensive line into just one versus getting it 2 broken up center, guard, tackle. At offensive line, it's Will Campbell with the Patriots. That's self-explanatory. For all of the hate he got in the media and Twitter and the like, all the questioning of head coach Mike Vrabel as far as the arm length and being able to hang with those top pass rushers, especially down all the way on that Super Bowl run. People wanting him to kick into guard. Vrabel sticking by him, saying that is not going to happen. You can quit asking him. Campbell needs to come answer some of that himself. He has answered that well in the media, needs to answer it on the field. That one's a little bit self-explanatory. And when you just look with some of that revisionist goggles there, seeing all the success of Armand Membu, who went after him in that draft at 7th overall versus 4th overall to the New York Jets, looking like who should have been the pick. Campbell's got all the athletic traits. Similar with Membu, they tested the caliber of a Trent Williams. They tested athletically the caliber of a Tristan Wirfs. It's all there. He's got to put it together this year. That one was self-explanatory. Jump into the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence with the Bengals, and I understand he's as proven as they are out there, the 3-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro. You gave up a 10th overall pick for him this year. For somebody at age 28, age 29, coming off of some elbow injury battles, this is the ultimate we're all in kind of statement by the Bengals, particularly after letting edge rusher Trey Hendrickson walk over after all those contract battles, all that anguish. And not only that, he goes to an arch rival in the Baltimore Ravens. To be giving $28 million per year on this deal to Lawrence, you took out the checkbook, you wrote it, you backed up the Brinks truck. This is win now with Joe Burrow wanting to see moves such as this. Going to have to see it out of the gate, even coming off that injury, battling against that 10th overall pick you gave up for him. And as far as the talent and the immediate proven ability that's coming in the building, it makes all the sense in the world. It has to come out healthy, it has to come matched, it has to be that much of a difference maker, and has to ultimately transitioning to the linebackers, sticking with them. I put the Bengals as an entire linebacker unit for that answer. Logan Wilson traded to the Cowboys. That's already wrapped up. Logan Wilson is gone. Bengals are completely putting their trust in Barrett Carter out of Clemson and Demetrius Knight, former second rounder out of South Carolina, to anchor this defense. You're asking these second-year players. One of them is going to be taking that green dot to communicate that defensive alignment. That's a gamble. That's a gamble in the Super Bowl window. Like I said, you've said you're all in. You said you're trying to win now with this Dexter Lawrence move, trying to show that to your franchise quarterback and Joe Burrow. Director of Player Personnel Duke Tobin, he chose not to invest in veteran starters in free agency or the draft in this linebacker core, though we speculated that second-round pick, looking at the likes of a Jacob Rodriguez, looking at the likes of a Jake Golday. Passing on that, you got Oren Burks as your primary 3 right now to kind of round out what the 2 or 3 that have got to have it this year. It's really just been flyers, targeting, claiming Swayze Bozeman off waivers, signing some undrafted free agents like local product Jack Dingle and the uniquely tall Eric Gentry out of Southern Cal, who had a very strong pre-draft process, but there's a lot of projection there, particularly at a true linebacker spot. Having spent nearly $200 million this offseason upgrading adjacent units, the likes of the defensive line, signing Dexter Lawrence, signing veteran Jonathan Allen, signing edge rusher Boy Mafe from the Seattle Seahawks, drafting a Cassius Howell at an edge spot. It's going to fall on here. The blame is going to fall on this linebacker crew if they can't get it together. They're going to look to move on. That's got to be the easy answer as we've gone Bengals defensively. And similarly, going to group the defensive backs together, but going to give 2 names here. Leaning Marlon Humphrey out of the Ravens, but going to sprinkle a little bit of Sauce Gardner in here. Sauce simply, you get traded from the Jets to the Colts for 2 first-round picks with the understanding and intention that they were one of the top teams in the league at the time. They were going all in to make a run. You have an injury to Daniel Jones. Really nothing comes of it. This year as a team, they got to have some results. Chris Ballard's got to have some results here from a general manager standpoint. Sauce has got to show the kind of talent production to be worth those 2 first-rounders for a team that does have some needs, but really would lean a little bit more on Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey's done a career's worth. That's not the point of this. Marlon Humphrey's been a fantastic player. Marlon Humphrey's already gotten his bag. He's in the final year of a 5-year, $97.5 million extension he signed in 2020. to be in that 29, 30-year age gap at a corner spot. What have you got left of him at this point? Bumped into the slot this past season for the Ravens, played 264 snaps at that alignment, and frankly did not grade out well. As far as slot defenders with at least 30 targets, he was third worst in the NFL in coverage success rate. And you've got a young rookie in Chandler Rivers out of Duke breathing down your neck now at that spot. Rivers' body habit, his profile, is a slot. I think he's ultimately going to be a starting nickel in the NFL. He's going to be somebody we look back in a few years and say, yep, you guys outthought that one and got a little cute as far as league-wide. Were you to kick Humphrey back outside? He's proven career-wise he's much stronger there. And even last season, as recent as last season, 61.5% coverage success rate, and that's relative to 47% inside. Where does he fit in this? You've seen a surge from Nate Wiggins as far as a boundary corner, a young guy. You've got Chandler Rivers coming in the building. Where does he find a spot? Does he put himself in a position to get another extension? Obviously not of a 5-year, $97.5 million caliber. Or does this kind of round this out, whether it be in Baltimore or whether it be in the NFL?